Hi all, it's Mark here, Arts and Culture Network. This is one of my favourite points of the day where I get to have some fun with one of our members, and I'm joined by John Wallace. John is one of our longest standing full members, actually. John is both a sales expert and a musician, and he's balancing those two careers, as many of us are doing now. John, thank you for joining me for this.
You're welcome. It's good to be here.
We've had some conversations. There'll be other videos you'll be able to find that will tell you more about what John does, and it's fascinating. And John is kindly agreed to share some of his expertise at one of our events. But this is the fun part of our meeting. Excuse me. I'm going to give you 10 arts and culture categories, and I'd like you to tell me if you have a favorite in that category, and if so, why. Take as much time as you need. If you're stuck for a favorite, what was perhaps go for the last one that you saw in that category or experience. So the first question, and I should point out, John has absolutely no warning of this, so it's proper off the cuff. John, do you have a favorite building, and if so, why?
Oh God, favorite building. Now there's a thing. I'm not sure that I do actually have a favourite as such. I tend to get I find I get drawn to older buildings. I'm a member of the National Trust, so I do like Chatsworth House in England. I very much like those sorts of buildings. I love walking around and experiencing the history. I quite like history. I didn't used to, but I found history is an amazing thing. So yeah, maybe Chatsworth House springs to mind.
That's a great one. And your favourite book, if you have one?
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
42.
42, Meaning of Life. Yeah, it's funny. I came across that way back in my teens probably, and I just found that the logic was fascinating. The fact that that you could fly by tripping and forgetting to hit the ground. I love that the whole idea of this nonsense, but it has a logic there. So yeah, I like that.
What was the other one? Walking is just falling over many times, isn't it? Really?
Basically, yeah. It's good because it's just a different view of the same thing. It's a different view of the world, and this is as a life thing. It's actually how you react to things rather than what the reality of what's actually going on. It's how you deal with it yourself. It's become more and more important to me.
That's brilliant. I love that. What was that? So flying is actually, what is it?
Falling over and forgetting to hit the ground. I think it was something like that. So yeah, you just don't hit the ground because you forget. You get distracted. I think you get distracted on the way down. You look up, oh, look at that, and you don't hit the ground.
Brilliant.
If only that was true.
And do you have a favorite dancer or dance group?
No, I enjoy dance, but I like it to be energized and stylish. So, I mean, I've done a lot of stuff in AmDram, amateur dramatic stuff, and the biggest problem I have with people who tend to, not always, they're going to kill me for this, but they don't really perform well. The tense in the body and all that is not there. They just kind of go for the motions. So I prefer dancers who really commit to the dance. I enjoy that.
Like that. Now, this one catches people out more than most. I want you to assume that you've been exiled from the UK and you have to choose another country in which to live, and you can do so based on your perception of its cultural life and characteristics. So if you could live in a different country, which would you choose?
I'm not that traveled, so I think possibly Italy.
Okay.
That can be, let's say, the cultural sort of stereotype, but in my experience of it was they're great with the arts. They appreciate refinement, but also the energy and pizzazz. I love that. I love that. That's what drives me.
Love it. And as a participant or a spectator, do you have a favorite sport?
Football. I like watching. I used to enjoy playing. Wasn't great at it, but I enjoy watching football. Yeah.
Great. And your team?
I'm not really completely aligned to them, but probably West Ham. West Ham United. But
Yes.
and my crossover, weirdly, when I was as a salesperson, I used to work for BT at one point. And I was their account manager. So in the old stadium, I got to walk round and all the rest of it, which was fun, you know.
Brilliant. That's great. And now, if you were told you could only listen to one musical genre for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Progressive rock.
Really? I think we've had this
Yeah.
conversation before. And who in that genre, which band would it have to be?
I tend to gravitate towards Genesis, but I do like lots of heavy stuff as well. I like all sorts in that area. The reason I like it, and it's funny because I was brought up as a very strong classical musician. I mean, I'm talking like right through my family, it was all very classical. And I remember being in my mid-teens. So hang on. Yeah, it was about 1977, 78, and my brother bought Genesis Seconds Out,
Mm,
and he popped it on there, and I was just blown away because the thing I liked about it had strong classical overtones, but it had a real drive and a real guts to it, and the sound of that particular disc I particularly liked, and that was a pathway. There was a way forward from classical, which I was born and bred. I was singing opera, Royal Opera, Covent Garden in my early teens, for example, with Kerry Caron, people like that, and I liked a bit of jazz and that, but this was a whole area. So like it legitimizes, and it just resonated with me. And I went on exploration after that. I love Rush, and I love new bands like Muse and things like that as well.
mm.
So yeah, I'd say progressive rock. It's got all I need. It's got the beauty. It's got the power. It's got the interesting time signatures. I love. It's got the chordal structures. As someone said, expensive chords. So I love that phrase.
I like that.
And I find, I mean, classically, I love foray in terms of the complexities. I love, as well. But that kind of draws it together. You find elements of all my favorite stuff sitting in that one genre. So if it had to be one, probably be that.
Okay, love that. And do you have a favorite track on Seconds Out? Because I love it and know it well as well.
Okay, so I love the end section of Cinema Show.
Yeah,
An absolute banger is Los Endos. I
mm,
mean, I go and see. Did see Genesis on their last tour, and it really gives me a buzz on that. But there's some great tribute acts in the UK, and my wife thinks it's really quite mad. She says you're the only person I know who will go to a gig at the other end of the world on your own to see a band.
mm.
She thought you must be meeting someone. I said I'm really not.
Have you seen
This is
Musical
not.
Box?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of times. So I saw them on the last tour. So they did the whole of the land, which was interesting and great, very theatrical
Yeah.
again, really stylish. But yeah, I'll drive to a long way to go and see a band on my own. It's just a bit crazy, really.
And my wife and I had to go to Turin to see Dream Theater.
Oh
So
wow, yeah, they're
yeah,
great, fantastic.
are you familiar with Dream Theater?
I am some of their stuff. I've never seen them, but I've got some of their discs, which are great. I also like Transatlantic, and I love their approach when Transatlantic came together to start with, because they wanted to recreate that more traditional sound and feel. So their first album hasn't got banks of synths on it; it's got more the sort of the mid-70s approach, because clearly it wasn't there then. So you got the organs and the string synths and that.
By the
Yeah,
way, have you seen One Man Genesis on YouTube?
I have. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good, and it's very very accurate.
And
Yeah,
One
very
Man,
good.
yeah, he does
Yeah.
One Man Yes as well, which
Well,
is
exactly. I think that's amazing. I mean, I love all that. I mean, one of my mates he was in my band when I was late teens, early 20s in a band, and Lee Pomeroy went on to perform and be, he is a top bass player. In the band, he was a blinding audition. I mean, he came in and we had this bit of music which was 9 minutes long in some weird type signatures, and he rocked out with his brother. He was 16, I think, 16 at the time. And he goes, okay, play us one of your tracks. So there's our guitarist and singer hadn't turned up. So just me and my mate, the drummer, who I'm still friends with. This is like 40 years ago now. And we played through, me and the drummer played through this bit of music, me on the keyboards, and played through. And Lee said to me, he said, okay, should we try it? I said, which bit? He goes, no, I think I've got it. He got it, 9 minutes long in weird, all different sections, you name it. You know what? Spot on, unbelievable. So we were together for a couple of years on that. We're still
yeah.
mates, and he's now the bass player. He's played for Rick Wakeman, ALW, which is kind of Yes, Steve
Mhm.
Hackett, you name it, he's done it. And he's also the bass player with Take That, I think, as well, who goes on tour with them.
Brilliant.
But yeah, it's amazing who you meet and who you stay friends with and all that. So
Yeah.
I love all that.
What was I going it was I've forgotten it now. There was something I was going to suggest. There was something else on YouTube, but it'll come to me. But yeah, I love prog rock. I'm with you on that.
It's got everything you want. It's got the upbeat, it's got the heavy, it's got the lights. No, if you're going to go for one, that's the one.
Yeah, brilliant. And do you have that was a lovely digression, but let's move on. Do you have a favorite visual artist?
No, although I did actually buy an original piece of artwork last year, I think it was, sits above my fireplace. And this was a guy, it was actually a military guy who can paint in two completely different styles, which is weird. So it's most unusual. Apparently the owner of the shop, the art shop we went to look around, what we chose was a relatively structured but abstract sort of art form of London and the eye, the London Eye, and it's just really good. It just inspires and tingles a little bit. It's a bit shimmery, but it's very good. But this guy also paints in very distinct style, which looks like a photograph. You can do that level of detail. So I suppose Ben, I can't remember the surname now, I'm doing him an injustice, but Ben, I love what he did. It has similarities to the picture actually I can see behind you. So although it's very discernible form that you can definitely see everything, and you just go, that's London, and it's all the landmarks, but it's not actually completely like a traditional bit of art where photographic, it's representative, which is nice.
Love that. This will be fun. Do you have a favorite play or musical?
My current favorite, which is a bit weird because it's a bit of a, it's not, people say, is it a musical? It is The Choir of Man. My current favourite is I'm off to see it for the third time. And it's one of those that come out from nowhere. I mean, I'd go through the lamest. It used to be Miss Saigon was my favourite. And as a structured, proper musical, Miss Saigon tends to be it. Okay. The story's great. It's Puccini's, Madame Butterfly Ready, or Madame Flutterby, as I'd say. But in a context, and the musically, I love all that, the emotion. So, and when I was a sales rep, I used to drive up and down England, and I used to put on Miss Saigon and sing along every number, because you got hours on the road, But we went to see this Choir of Man thing. So I think it was last year. And I didn't know what to expect. The guy next to me said, I'm seeing it for the fifth time. I thought, he must be mad. You know what? It was great. I love the energy. I love the musicianship. I love the performance. I love the fact the fourth wall had gone. It was songs a lot that I didn't know. So to my point on our early conversation, I experienced new music, not the original form, but their version of it. And I love the humor. I love a good laugh, It had kind of everything, that buzz. And it's one of the rare musical moments where I genuinely gave it a proper standing ovation. It was in the front of the balcony in a small theatre. Again, it wasn't reaped with technology. It was very real, very honest, sort of basic thing. Sitting there, people see it. And I recommend it to anyone.
Where is it on?
It's in the arts. It is. It's limited run. It's finishing the end of August. So this is obviously 2023. In the Arts Theatre in central London, just off Leicester Square. And I say to everyone who likes any form of music, go and experience the buzz, the energy, the connection, the honesty, almost, and what this brings out. They've got some upbeat music, so I've rearranged some of the stuff for my choirs that I run, because I just thought, I've got to get this into what I do as well. It's got beautiful, it's got The Impossible Dreams in it, and you've got Wake Me Up, which is Avicii, which is a dance floor banger. You've got songs like The Impossible Dream. They do Chandelier. They do a traditional, call it Celtic. It's Irish stroke Scottish. The parting, I don't know, the final glass, I think it's called. Again, I'll probably do an arrangement of that for a choir at some point. So these are, to my mind, extreme musical forms, but put into the context of an art form of delivering it, and I love doing that. So I love arranging music as well myself, bringing something new to it, bringing a different take on it. But I'd say this show, I'm looking forward to. I'm now taking my mum. I'm taking my wife twice, so I take my mum this time. She'll love it. She's in her 80s, but she, like me, loves all this stuff. So
I'm
I'd
going to
say
have
that's
a look. I'm going to have a look for that. That's I've not heard of it. So
it's great. It's really good. It's good fun. Great night out. It's a banging night out. All that stuff I described to you. But if you're going to go to a real sort of traditional show, then I'd say that Miss Saigon is one of my basically my favourite musically and artistically and story wise. And if I look at what stuff I've written, like The Hunchback of Notre Dame would spring to mind, that is most likely aligned to that art form of Miss Saigon, that sung through almost opera style, you know.
yeah, brilliant, excellent. I'll try and put links into things I find where this video
Please do.
appears so people
Yeah.
follow it. Nearly there. Do you have a favourite film?
Okay. Do I have a favorite film? Yeah, I guess Toy Story.
Okay, lovely.
Weird, I know, a bit weird.
And
I had to think then because I love action comedies, but the ones I can, and all four of them I think are brilliant. And it's just the humor, the quality of the writing, the personality, there's something different in it. Every time you watch it, you can spot the nuance. It's like great comedy. You can watch it more than once because you just know it's like a great song. You know what's going to happen. You want to get that emotional buzz or whatever it's going to be. So I'd say Toy Story, yeah.
brilliant.
And great music
And
as well, great
finally on
songs.
this one, yeah. And
Yeah, great
finally
songs.
on this one, with the exception of me, who was the last person to make you laugh?
Probably my wife, actually. I'd say she's mad, but I mean, she comes up with some really, really funny anecdotes. Just the stuff she does, bang, eyes, God, that's just makes me laugh. Her take on the world can be really quirky. I love it.
Brilliant. My wife said one of the funniest things I heard her say is, Mark spends so much time asleep, I've forgotten what colour his eyes are.
There you go. Isn't that funny? That's those sorts of comments, really, you know.
John, thank you so much for doing this. I love doing these. I'll post links wherever this appears so that people can track you down, both for the sales expertise and the musical passions. But once again, thank you so much for doing this.
You're welcome. Thank you.